Mazel tov everyone on this beautiful Simcha of Siyum of Meseches, Siyum of Meseches Sotah. Also, I want to mention, of course, my dear friend, Rabbi Shlomi Greenwald, who, as you mentioned before, Rabbi Jacobson, when he does things, he doesn't just do it like Atchil Aribet. There's no option bechlal for anything else, for anything other than Aribet. Yashakoyach and the Rebbe soll dir geben the keches to continue all your wonderful projects and mitzvahs and ma'asim tovim, and we can truly say, Asefaranen zochal the Torah ugdula b'mokim echad. Pashgacha Pratis, actually today's Chitas, Chumash today, is Parsha Sotah. That's mamish the Parsha of Chitas that we say today, as well as Nazir, which is also mentioned somewhere in Meseches Sotah. Rashi even quotes Rabbi Lezer HaKapor, why a Nazir is called a Choyte. Shehizir atzmei min hayayin. But in general, as was mentioned, the Siyum of Meseches Sotah and the Limud of Meseches Sotah is a hachana for Kabbalah Sotah. And incidentally, we're right now in the Shloishes Kabbalah, which represents Tahara Prishus, and the end of Meseches Sotah talks about Tahara and Prishus. But we find something very interesting. Obviously, we all know this in the Briv, that the Rebbe always would write and mention and speak before Matan Torah, before Kabbalah Sotah. He would mention the word from the Friedrich Rebbe, Bebirchas Kabbalah Sotah, Besimcho Bepnimius. Everyone knows this famous lashon. Sometimes we don't even stop and think about it. Actually, Maimer HaMuzger, a side note, there's a letter that the Rebbe sent once to the Rosh Yeshiva from Yeshiva University, Rabbi Yoshe Ben Soloveitchik. He wrote him a standard Michtav Kloli, Birchas Kabbalah Sotah, and the Rebbe wrote Nun Beis, L'chayre from the Gemara, that you have to have Yoshav Be'emse. L'chayre, it's a contradiction to Kabbalah Sotah Besimcha. It has to be Be'emo, Be'yira, Be'reses, U'Beziyah. Ziyah has two taichen, with sweat, or the Meloshen V'leikom V'leizoh, mit HaShokoldikait, Hunat Sitter. You have to learn the Torah. So the Rebbe answered an interesting three things. Number one, the Simcha is on the general Kabbalah Sotah. Number two, the Gemara says that you have to say Milsa de B'dichas even before the B'seif Yoshev Be'emse U'Pasach B'Shmaitzer. And number three, the Etzem Limod HaTorah, when you get to the Maskonas HaDover, Ein Simcha ki HaTorah HaSveikes. So B'meila Torah is Be'etzem verbunden also with Simcha. I'm sure the Rebbe saw that he would read that and right away have a kasha Lubavitch Chsidish Shemaises Kabbalah Sotah B'Simcha. What's it does? But the truth is, for Medayik in the Lashon Kabbalah Sotah, we celebrate Matan Torah, Zman Matan Torah Seinu. But yet, we're not talking about the Matana of the Noisen HaTorah of the Eibishter. We're talking about Kabbalah Sotah. What is the taich? What does it mean, Kabbalah Sotah? Kabbalah Sotah means we need to do an action to receive the Torah. We need to make ourselves kelim, that the Torah should become ours to the extent of besimcha bepnimis. And I want to elaborate on this mamish just for a few moments. There are many speakers. I don't want to take too much time. We're about to start. I think I saw you starting Masechta Gittin. Is that correct? So we know that a get, you give bal korcha of the isha. You don't need the rotzei no isha to be mekabel the get. You could force her to be kind of the get. So just because we get something doesn't mean that we're doing something to actually accept it. The Tosfos Yom Tov asks Akasha on the end of the Meseches Sotah in the Mishnah, when it says Mishemeis, the great Tanoim, so by some of them it says Botel, and by Tahara Prishus, for example, it says Mesa Tahara Prishus. So the Tosfos Yom Tov makes a comment, why do we find the difference of Botel and Tahara? So on one of the Fabrenges, as Reb Simon mentioned before, and the Rebbe mentioned many times the Siyum of Meseches Sotah and Tavshel Lametes, the Rebbe spoke about this. And the Rebbe said the chiluk of Bittul and Misa, you would think that Misa is much worse, right? Bittul is not so bad, it's just bottle. Misa means it's dead. The Rebbe says just the opposite. Bottle means it's not here. In order to bring something back that's not here, it's very, very difficult. It's possible, but very difficult. A mace is here b'shleimus. The nifted exists begashmis. What's missing? What's missing is just chayis. And when Mashiach will come, he'll be mechaya all the mason by giving them chayis. B'mheira b'yomeinu mamish. Not like the Gemara says in the end of Meseches Sotah, ki odam ha'omer l'kishayich ha'mesim ad amoid ha'koyin le'urim betumim, as the Gemara brings. But a mace is b'shleimus. What's missing is the chayis. When we know that something is here b'shleimus, all we're missing is the chayis. The Mishnah says it because it's all the more easier to be able to reawaken and awaken das was is gestorben kvayochel, just by entering and bringing in a little bit of chayis into this. That could be the pshat that the Rebbe quotes from the Frierdiker Rebbe in this statement of Kabbalah Satoira besimcho bepnimius. We got the Torah. Aber God forbid, chaz v'sholem, it could be lachmana litzlan like a mace, meaning I have it. Es liegt. I have it and I learn it. Aber se felt the chayis shebedover. Das is bibchinas miso. So the bracha that we receive from the Rebbe tonight and every time before Shavuos, Erev Shavuos Mamish, that we should be zoichet to have the Kabbalah Satoira, but how? Not stam as if we got it bal korcho. But es muss sein besimcho bepnimius reinbringen to bring in the chayis zu baleben what's something that chaz v'sholem could be toit even though it's here b'shleimus. And Baruch Hashem, when Yidden get together, Baile Yesek, who study and learn Torah mitachayis, the raya that it's mitachayis, that you come afterwards to have a simcha l'gmara shel Torah. That's a raya that the ganze limud was with machayis. That allows us to do our pula that the Torah should enter us properly besimcha, and then bepnimius. Then it's Kabbalah. It's not just Noisen. It's not just Matan Torah. The famous Chazal in Meseches Shabbos, where the Gemara says that Mikan by Purim Kimo Mashakibelu Kvar is Mikan Medor Rabbi Leiraisa, because up until that point they were only mekabel the Torah bal korcham. As the Torah says, the Gemara says, Kofa aleim har kegigis, Hashem picked up the mountain, and he threatened Klal Yisrael, if you're not going to be mekabel the Torah, plop. So of course they were mekabel the Torah. So Chassidus says, what does this mean? So Chassidus explains, the Rebbe brings it many times, that the pshat is not literally only that the Eibishter picked up the mountain, but the pshat is that Kofa aleim har kegigis means that we were mekabel the Torah because we saw and felt the great, tremendous Gilui Elikus. There was no choice. Like was mentioned before, Maisa will be Godel when Mashiach comes. Val even mikir tizak. You don't get any schar, you don't get any thank you. Es kommt nicht von sich if you're mekabel the Torah because you see the Eibishter in the Torah. You see the anon avshik sovis yehovis. You see the elikus in every single word that you learn. A chokhmeh, sidishka chokhmeh. Nobody gets a thank you for not jumping into a fire because then you're a behemoth shaita. Nobody gets a thank you for breathing. It's natural. Kofa aleim har kegigis means the Eibishter gave us the Torah that we were mekabel it naturally. That's who we are. Kavayochel, like robots. Because that's what the Eibishter shows us and that's what we do. It wore off, of course. The Yidden also sinned. But the etzem Kabbalah didn't come with a Kabbalah milmata l'mayla. Umikam bedor Rabbi Leiraisa came this man of Purim when the Yidden were under tremendous pressure and they were still mekabel the Torah. I want to add that we're not looking for pressure. What we're looking for really is to be mekabel the Torah through a matzav of a Gilui Ohr, like we just saw in the Sikha. Du willst haben a Gilui a lichtigen Tag? You have to study Torah, Oira zu Torah. We want that we should be able to learn Torah and feel that Gilui Elikus elavaden milmata l'mayla. When the Eibishter was kofa aleinu har kegigis, he forced us. But if we bring it out by ourselves, we create by ourselves this Gilui Elikus when we study Torah, and we do it with the proper chayis and geschmack. That's the ultimate Kabbalah Satoira Milmata L'mayla, with the ultimate Gilui Elikus and Gilui Ohr, which caused the Yidden to say at that time, Nasa v'nishma. We should all be zoiche that we're standing here today on a Siyum of Meseches Sotah, which talks about all these special Gewaldike Inyonim, and we recognize that what's demanded of us, Taka, is not just Kabbalah Satoira in a oifen chas v'sholem of Misa, but Kabbalah Satoira mit chayis, Kabbalah Satoira besimcha, and Kabbalah Satoira bepnimius. And just the Kabbalah itself will certainly usher in that this Chag HaShavuos of Zman Matan Teirasenu, we will stand together in Yerushalayim Ir HaKodesh with Mashiach Tzidkenu, who should come take it from Miyad Mamish. Mazel Tov.